Tell us a little bit about your job.
Well, thank you very much for having us on today, Paul. And what I do is, for the compact, is I work on the marketing. So just trying to make everyone aware of the programs that are available to them. Would you like me to get into specifics?
You can get into some of the specifics.
So we offer free energy efficiency programs to homes and businesses. Everyone is eligible for a free energy assessment, and we offer great incentives that can help reduce all your electric and heating bills.
Okay, very good. We'll get into that. And anything else?
We offer a power supply program that we can let Stephan get more into.
Right.
And we also do consumer advocacy. So we are constantly up at the State House working to advocate for consumers' rights down here.
Oh, very good. Now, do you do that too?
Not me. That tends to be more of the Administrator Maggie Downey and other staff. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. I think we had Maggie on last time. And, Stephan, do you want to tell us about the power supply?
Sure. So I work on the power supply program. That's my biggest role at the compact. So basically, working to make sure that the power supply rates that we offer are as competitive as they can possibly be, making sure that we're getting as much information out to consumers as possible about what their options are, things that they should be thinking about if they're looking to choose another power supplier, questions to ask to make sure that they're getting a good deal, those sorts of things. I also work on the consumer advocacy a fair amount. So a lot of what we do is at the Department of Public Utilities, as well as on some of the legislation up at the State House, because there are a lot of really kind of mundane details that happen up at the Department of Public Utilities that get hashed out that have real consequences for consumers on the Cape. And so we intervene a lot, and we advocate to make sure that ratepayers on the Cape are being protected.
Now, how are you guys doing about our rates? I think they're very high.
Yeah, so our rates are definitely high. There's no question about it.
Yes.
People probably especially noticed that this winter, right around January.
Yes.
Yeah, well, and especially if you heat with electricity, then you definitely would have noticed it.
I don't. I heat with gas, but I still feel that I'm paying a lot for both my electric bill. My electric bill, I think, has gone way up.
Yeah. And so when explaining about that, it's kind of important to distinguish between the two major different parts of your electricity bill. And so one of those big portions is what we would call delivery charges.
Yes, that's right.
So those are mostly pay for things like wires and for NSTAR to make sure the poles and the wires are working, do all of the meter reading, that sort of thing. And then the other biggest portion of the bill is the supply portion. And that's really what's driven prices up. That's really what's increased, especially in January. And that is the part of the bill that actually goes towards the generation of electricity itself. So not just getting it to your door, but actually paying for the different power plants in the region to produce the electricity. That's what's really increased a lot recently.
So we're paying for the power plants. Why has that part of the bill gone up so much?
So the reason that part has gone up so much is to understand it best, you have to understand where our electricity comes from. So over the last decade or so, the amount of our electricity that we get from natural gas has doubled. So it's gone from about 25% 10 years ago to more than 50% today.
Now this is the actual cost of gas.
This is the amount, the percentage of our electricity that's produced from natural gas. So it used to be that in the past we were getting more from coal and oil and other resources.
Yes.
And we've scaled back the amount of electricity that we generate from coal and oil, and we've increased pretty dramatically the amount that we get from natural gas. And so what that's done is it's made it so that the price of natural gas really sets the price for electricity in New England.
Now, is the price of natural gas, I don't think it's usually more than oil, and I don't know what the cost of coal would be, but is gas now more expensive than oil and coal?
So originally, the reason that we transitioned so much natural gas was largely because it was less expensive. It also has fewer emissions than some of these other resources, which is obviously a great improvement. But the biggest driver for this huge transition was the cost relative to oil and coal. But what's happened is that nationally, natural gas prices are still very low. They've increased a little bit since 2008, 2009, but they're still very low. But what's happened in New England is, as I said, we've doubled the amount of electricity that we're getting from natural gas, and we've been changing heating systems over from oil to natural gas. So we've had this dramatic increase in the amount of natural gas that we consume in the region, but we have not really made any major investments in the infrastructure that it takes to get natural gas into the region. We're really kind of at the end of the pipeline in terms of natural gas, and so we don't have enough pipeline to get all of that natural gas here right now.
So is the pipeline really goes to the plants that produce the energy?
Well, so the plants come into New England largely from the west and the south, although we get some from the north, from Canada, from the provinces, some of the eastern provinces in Canada. And they feed all of the consumption of natural gas in the region. The heating, electricity production, everything comes from those pipelines. And so, especially in winter, when we're using natural gas both for electricity production and for heating everybody's homes and businesses, that's when we're really taxing the ability, to the point where at some points these pipelines are running at their absolute maximum capacity, getting all of this natural gas in here, and we're basically burning it as quickly as we can bring it in.
So this natural gas comes to the individual home as well as to the plants.
That's right. Yep.
And it's much more costly.
Well, it depends. It's supply and demand. So it's a commodity market. And so in the winter, when we have this huge demand, again because we're making electricity from it and we're heating,
Yes.
the prices skyrocket. So whereas we might on average pay $40 per megawatt hour, which is just a unit of electricity, we might pay $30 or $40 per megawatt hour of electricity on a wholesale market. During the winter, those prices can skyrocket up to $1,000 per megawatt hour. And that's because the cost that generator is paying for the natural gas that he needs to make the electricity has increased basically the same proportion. And so those costs, those skyrocketing natural gas costs, which translate into high electricity costs, those are now basically trickling down to the consumer who's paying those costs.
I see. So that's why my bill is so high.
That's really what's driving your bill up. Yep.
And is there anything being done to get more pipelines into this area?
So it's unfortunately a lot of people want to get more pipeline capacity into the area, but it's a really challenging task. And the reason is pretty technical, but the simplest answer is basically that you have natural gas consumers, electricity plant generators, that don't like signing long-term contracts. They like to buy natural gas when they need it and not, sign long-term contracts out into the future. And on the other hand, you have pipeline operators that are making enormous investments in upgrading their pipelines that don't want to make that commitment unless they have a contract signed. So that they know they're going to be able to pay back the investment that they're making. And so you have these two incentives and these levels of kind of investing styles that don't match up. And so right now, all of the governors in New England are working really hard to basically help in any way that they can align these two different interests. To make sure that we get some of this pipeline capacity. So a lot of people are working on it, and we'll definitely see some upgrade in the amount of capacity that we have serving the region in 3 or 4 years. But it remains to be seen if it's enough to make all of the problems go away. And that's still a long amount. It's a long time, but that's what we're looking at.
So we get 3 or 4 more years of high costs. Is what you're telling me, right?
Realistically, yeah, I think that's what we're looking at.
Wow. Well, that gives me my answer, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Stephan. That was a good explanation. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
But,
I wish I had better news for you, but yeah.
yeah. Okay. And now you can tell us a little bit more about Cape Light Compact's efficiencies.
Yes, so to help offset those high power supply costs, everyone on the Cape and the Vineyard who have an active NSTAR electric account is eligible for a free energy assessment on their home or business. And through the, yes.
Is there a wait for, you're talking about an audit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a wait for those at this time?
There is. We had a very high demand this winter because it was so cold. Everybody, was thinking the same thing. They all want insulation in their house. So we do have right now about a 6 to 8 week wait for the assessment.
Wow,
and it doesn't seem to be slowing down even with this nice weather. So now is the time to call for your energy assessment so you can be all set for the next winter.
I've had one several years ago now, more than 4 years anyhow, maybe 4, 5, 6 or 7 years now. And I was very pleased with it.
Yeah, and we offer some great incentives right now. Any installation that's recommended during the home assessment, we cover at least 75% of the cost up to $4,000.
Now that, you mean like, what do I want to say? What's an insulator that they put in the house?
Well, it's like the blown-in insulation
yes,
or fiberglass bats.
Yes.
Yep. So anything
you pay for that now?
Yep. And we also
$4,000 for it.
75% up to $4,000. And then any incandescent lights that are in the home, we replace those with energy efficient lights. So either compact
what kind
fluorescents.
of energy efficient lights do you use?
Mostly compact fluorescent light bulbs, and during our residential audit, we actually are giving away 2 LED lights now as part of the assessment.
Okay. I bought 2 this winter.
They're very nice.
How you liking them?
I just kept them in the box. I haven't used them. I don't know where to put them. So,
Yeah.
but I guess I'll like them when I decide to use them. and so, okay, and what else now?
Any air sealing that's recommended, so that's sealing up any of your air leaks in between, like your joists in the attic or around any plumbing runs. We cover that at 100%, so there's no copay on that.
Okay.
And it is a great thing for everybody to take advantage of because you actually pay for it a little bit on the delivery portion of your bill.
That's what I understand.
Yeah, there's an energy conservation charge that's on your electric bill. So that money is collected by NSTAR Electric and then returned to the region for us to administer the energy efficiency programs.
And you have plenty of money?
We have plenty of money.
Okay, so everybody should get an audit.
Everybody should get an audit, exactly. It doesn't hurt, there's no obligation, you don't need to proceed with any work that's recommended, but it's a great thing to do.
Very good. Well, is that about it?
We have some limited time offers available.
Oh, good. What are those?
There's an early boiler and furnace replacement program
That's very good.
that's available through the end of September. You have to have a home energy assessment, and if you have oil or propane heat, and your furnace is more than 12 years old or your boiler is more than 30 years old, you're eligible for a pretty substantial rebate towards a new energy efficient system.
Okay, 30 years you have to keep the boiler though.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a long time.
It is a long time, but
Yeah.
some people have them for 40 or 50 years, so
That's
this is
true.
encouraging folks to retire those old clunkers a little sooner.
Oh, clunkers. Okay. It's a good name for them.
It'll save you a little bit of money on your heating bills anyways.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 years ago I put in a new furnace. So, but mine was only 20 years old, so I wouldn't have qualified.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
But you still would see a pretty substantial decrease on your electric bill, on your heating bill.